This is about lot number 337 of our upcoming sale. I'd say a rather spectacular painting. What does it depict?
Well, it is incredibly striking. It depicts a skeleton, as we can see, holding a katana sheathed at his waist, which is basically just held in place with his hand here. And in the other hand, he holds this also very, very strikingly, beautifully painted severed head with the long, almost ghost-like hair.
It could be almost a self-portrait. If you look here, the man who painted this masterpiece, KAWANABE KYOSAI, this picture was taken around 1880. And this is just a few years, actually, after Japan reopened in 1868, which was enforced back by the American troops at that time. I think Commander Perry, if I can recall it correctly. And this is when the samurai class essentially disappeared and surrendered. And that's the background of that painting.
Definitely. And also KAWANABE KYOSAI, much like Session, was an absolute genius. And him living through this time of change, and his early work was very traditional. He was a Kano school painter. And then moving into this transitional period where he was very critical of this period and made many jokes in his paintings. And I would say this can be definitely seen in this context as well.
So the corpus of his paintings, or a part of the corpus, actually deals with this transitional time,
absolutely.
of which he was very skeptical.
Yes.
And the skepticism is clearly shown here, because apparently it looks more that death took actually the head of the samurai and the sword of the samurai. That's how I would interpret it.
Exactly.
And that is very powerful. I have rarely seen a painting that powerful and striking as this one here. And it's interesting also to illustrate how poor the artists at some point were, because you see here what is remnants of a draft for just a normal landscape painting, which was then overpainted by KYOSAI completely to create this exceptional painting. And we know that artists, when they were poor, they mixed up their own color sets, they repurposed the paper or the canvas. This is very well known. For instance, Van Gogh was one of the artists that is known for that. When he was very poor for his drawing, he mixed his own inks, and those inks fade very well fast. So some of his work has been damaged. This is a similar thing here, but lucky enough, the actual painting is pretty much as it was on day one. It's like so super striking and powerful.
Yeah, I think it not only, that is one important aspect, but also because he was a traditional landscape painter at the very beginning. So I think maybe this also kind of speaks to the traditional versus the eccentric and the very striking image here.
I think KAWANABE KYOSAI also had to make a living, so he made some very decorative paintings that the audience seems to like a lot. We have a couple of works that we can show you from his past. There is a beautiful portrait of a courtesan, but it also has the skeleton subject.
Particularly when you compare the skeleton on the second auction comparison that we have, which sold for almost $1 million, converted and adjusted, you can see actually how similar the details of the skeleton are. An art piece is signed by the artist. It's signed Shoujo Kyosai Hitsu, made by Shoujo Kyosai, and also has an inscription on the back, which attributes this work to him. It says made by Shoujo Kyosai, a skeleton holding a freshly severed head, and also gives some information on the provenance to the Kajima family, which is an important family. So it also has some provenance attached to it.
So overall, a spectacular painting, and I think we priced it fairly reasonable.
Yeah, this begins at 7,500 and a high estimate of 15,000, which for a Kyosai work is, of course, very, very reasonable.
It's mounted as a scroll, and so we have here ebony fittings, black hardwood fittings, and beautiful silk brocade, rough silk brocade. So it's nicely mounted and ready for hanging chips in a tube. Yeah. So if you want it, you can bid on it. 7,500 is the starting price. I wish you can acquire it. Good luck in bidding.